So, when we developed the brain and the mind was given, and we begin to exercise the mind, we began losing the control over nature forces. We could not command them anymore. So these things about abuse of power is something that started many years back, millions of years back. Black magic of the worst kind and most disgusting flourished a lot. We were using our powers anyhow. And all efforts were directed towards the gratification of vanity and external display. That was how we were using our powers in those days, millions of years ago. With time, and this is where the difference started, with time, the first germ of corrective quality of thought emerged. Those who began exercising their faculties became the forerunners for the widespread use of the mind in the fifth movement. So the use of the mind were by a select group of people going back into the fourth movement. The mind was given to give purpose to action, and this is key. The mind was given to give purpose to action. But as the ego was weak and the desire nature strong, and the desire nature was dominated by the lower desires, very strong, the embryonic mind, the young mind that was given, combined with the desire body. So instead of the mind linking up with the spirit and serving as the link between the lower bodies and the spiritual aspects, it rather combined with the desire, because the desire was there earlier on. So, with the mind linking with the desire, the faculty of cunning and craftiness emerged, leading to greed and wickedness. This is what happened when the mind linked with desire. Instead of it being a tool for the spirit, it linked with the desire. The use of thought and reason led to mankind losing control over nature forces. So, when we developed the brain and the mind was given, and we begin to exercise the mind, we began losing the control over nature forces. We could not command them anymore. Humanity couldn't command the nature forces anymore because we resorted to the use of the mind to reason and to give thought. Thought that works only in an individual is powerless to command nature. It can never endanger humanity, as would be the case if the nature forces were to be under our control, because we are selfish and greedy, we'll abuse it. So it was replaced by thought so that we can use it for reasoning. By thought and reasoning, we had the opportunity to evolve, to go through the process of evolution. The pioneers among humanity regulated their desire to some extent using the mind. So the pioneers who started using thought and reason began using the mind to regulate their desires. So instinct was not having the better part of them. Though they were very turbulent people, the pioneers even in those days were turbulent. They learned to curb their passions to a great extent and accomplish their purposes by being more subtle and potent than mere brute strength. They never used that, depending on only strength, machoism. No, they began using the mind to change things. They were the first to discover that brain is superior to brawn. Today's world comprises people with characteristics of the third movement, the fourth movement, and the fifth movement of the spiritual impulse. They all have the spirit domiciled in the body. We all have it. And we are all externally conscious. We are capable of exercising the mind, but not at the same level. Some exercise it more than others. Generally, the pioneers of humanity exercise the mind to a larger extent than the rest of humanity. What is the principal work in this fifth movement? What are we required to do? In this fifth movement, thought and reason are to be evolved. That is the main work. Thought and reason are to be evolved by the work of the Spirit, using the mind to conduct desire into channels that will lead to attainment of spiritual excellence. That is what we are required to do in this fifth movement. Remember that the faculty of thought and forming of ideas was gained by humanity at the expense of loss of power over nature. That is the plan for our going forward, not to be dependent on elementals or outside spirits. They are guardians of the natural forces, but we are not to be dependent on them. Galatians chapter 4 verse 9 says as a reminder, "But now, after that ye have known God, or rather are known of God, how turn ye again to the weak and beggarly elements, whereunto ye desire again to be in bondage?" In the fifth movement, humanity came to know the use of the forces of nature: water, earth, fire, air, and ether. We need to use them so that we can learn from them in order to improve upon our development. The most advanced among human beings at the beginning of the fifth movement were given higher initiations, and this is the spiritual aspect. In the early part of the fifth movement, the most advanced people among humanity were given initiation, that they might take the place of the messengers of God, who were then directly leading us. So human initiates gradually emerged, and their job is to lead us now. Such human initiates were from this time going the ones mediating between God and mankind. They include founders of world religions and holy people. They operate on the quiet, and they do not even appear publicly or show any signs or wonders that they are spiritual leaders and teachers. And you might be saying, but those people, they died many years ago. If you have deep knowledge about spiritual things, you wouldn't say so.
Filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see. Whoa, it's taking over, damn, no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all this.